நீனாரும் கடலுடுத்த நிலமடந்த செழிகொழுகும் சீனாரும் பதனமென திகழ்படக கண்டமெனில் எத்தளவும் அது சிறந்த திராவிடர்கள் திருநாடும் கத்த சிறு திரை முதலும் தரித்தனரும் திலகமுமே அத்திலக வாசனை போல் அனைத்துலகும் இன்பமுல எத்திசையும் புகழ் வழங்க இருந்த பெரும் தமிழனே தமிழனே உன் சீரிழமை திறம்பியந்த செயல்களந்து வாழ்ந்ததுமே வாழ்ந்ததுமே வாழ்ந்ததுமே.
Thank you all. Sunshine is a welcoming thing. It brings a lot of brightness. As same, I request Dr. B.R. Bhagiraj, Head Department of Microbiology, to welcome the gathering.
Good afternoon, all. Really a ray of light on today to enlighten the faculty members. So today the Faculty Development Cell, Center for Research and Development and Institution Innovation Council of Sri Nehru Mahavidyalaya College of Arts and Science, Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu is organizing 8-day faculty development program on adaptive approaches for modern teaching and research. Sure, the FDP will give you insight into teaching, learning strategies, research designing, funding agencies for research, research publication and research ethics, IPR and mindfulness. So if you look at these sessions, you can realize greater interest of Sri Nehru Mahavidyalaya College of Arts and Science, Coimbatore, in promoting teaching community best in academic and research. So it's a time for welcoming the gathering. So it's my pleasant duty and honor to welcome today's chief guest, the man of research and academics with more than 3 decades of experience, Dr. K. Lingakumar, Head and Associate Professor, Department of Botany, Center for Research and Postgraduate Studies in Botany, Ayanada Janagamal College, Sivagasi, Tamil Nadu. Welcome you, sir. And it's really a fortune time for me to welcome the versatile personality and dynamic leader with us, the person who behind us, always for every actions here in the SNMV CAS, our beloved principal, Dr. Bojan Subramani, sir. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you.
I cordially welcome Dr. Muthukumar, Director, SNMV Institute of Management. Welcome you, sir. At this point, I welcome all the heads of the departments and faculty members of our Sri Nehru Mahavidyalaya College of Arts and Science. And of course, it's a great pleasure to extend warm welcome to all the participants from various academic and research institutions across the country. So once again, I welcome you all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It's important to be a person of honor, then be a person with wealth. So I request such a person of honor, Dr. B. Subramani, the principal, to deliver the presidential address.
So very good afternoon to all the members in this Connect. I am Dr. B. Subramani, Principal of SNMV College, Coimbatore. Extend a warm and hearty welcome to all the members, delegates for this wonderful FDP, Faculty Development Program for 8 days. First of all, I would like to thank and welcome our management members for their blessings and unconditional support and guidance, for giving permission to conduct this 8 days FDP virtually. And my wholehearted gratitude and big thanks to our honorable guest for this today's program, Dr. K. Lingakumar, Head and Associate Professor, Department of Botany, Ayanadar College, Sivagasi, for accepting our invitation and to be the guest for this wonderful 8-day faculty development program. I also welcome all the other guest speakers for the 8 days FDP that is going to happen from 15th to 23rd November 2021. So this program is being organized on the theme of adaptive approaches for modern teaching and research in association with R&D and FDP Cell and Institutions Innovation Council. So this SNME-CAS is known for innovation and creativity. I would like to share a few points about our institution. Being an head of the institution, it is my duty. It was established in the year 1989, 31 years of academic excellence and meaningful service to the society, accredited by NAC with A grade, 3.17 grade point in the third cycle. Friends, it is due to the motivation and inspiration from our management to organize such FDPs continuously every year by the FDP team members and the coordinator, Professor Dr. Bakiraj. And they are performing this FDP every year to inculcate the latest technologies, updations in the teaching and research. So life is education and education is life. In the educational scenario, teachers, the faculties play an important role. I think it has become imperative to invest in preparing the staff and training the teachers so that the future of the nation becomes secure. Friends, the quality of the nation depends upon the quality of the citizens. Quality of the citizen depends from the quality of the education, what they get, especially the youth. And so it is very significant and important to enhance quality in education, especially in higher education, by adopting different and modern teaching techniques, more such approaches, and improvising the research in the multidisciplinary approach to quality enhancement in higher education. These FDPs will be very much beneficial to all the members enrolled here in this meet. So by conducting this 7 days or 8 days program, we can assure that those who are all participating all these days will have a good, at least the basic about that particular title, and they can update, they can enhance their skills as well. I am sure this program will enhance the level of information knowledge of all the participants. I extend my best wishes for this program. I wish a grand success for this FDP, the 8 days rally, like every day there's a different topic, different domains and with different experts. Once again, I welcome and I thank all the members for the 7 days program experts for accepting our invitation and to share your valuable thoughts with all our the staff, with the staff community. So wish you all the best. Have a wonderful FDP program for 8 days. And my sincere thanks to the organizers and the team members for such taken a wonderful effort to organize experts from various places and to give knowledge to all the teaching fraternity. So thank you very much. Wish you all the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Excellence is not being the best, it is doing your best So I request Dr. S. Sudhakar, Head of the Department of MBA, to introduce our chief guest.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce K. Lungakumar, who is the head and associate professor of botany research at Center for Research and Postgraduate Studies in Botany at Ayanada Janaki Amman College, Sivakashi. Today, he is going to talk on the topic an insight into teaching learning strategies. A challenging subject, I feel only he can make the total justice for this particular topic. The reason being, he is an academician with 25 years of teaching experience and 30 years of research experience. He has got many accolades from his college days to teaching career. He secured the first rank in Madurai Kamaraj University in MSc Botany in the year 1984. He is a recipient of Srimati Kanchana Bose Gold Medal from Ayanada Janaki Ammal College, Sivakashi in 1984. He is also the recipient of Dr. M. Vatharajan Endowment Gold Medal from Madurai Kamaraj University in the year 1984. He has got many other awards also, like Punnagai Antadri Memorial Prize from Madurai Kamaraj University in 1984. He also received the Best Scientist in Plant Size Botany Award from the Pearl Foundation for Education Excellence from Madurai in 2016. And he also received the Glory of India Gold Medal by the Best Citizen Publishing House, New Delhi. A renowned teacher and a researcher, he has produced 6 PhDs, 24 MPhils, and currently he is guiding 4 PhD students. He has received research funding from UGC Major Project, UGC Minor Project, and also TNSCT Student Research Project. He is also instrumental in getting the Directorate of College Gate Education, Chennai, merit scholarship to 2 of his PhD students. An amount of 36,000 per annum for 3 years was sanctioned for these 2 students. He is a member of Board of Studies of many of the colleges in Tamil Nadu. Notable ones are American College, Tyagaraja College, Fatima College, Lady Dog College, PSG Krishmal College for Women, Coimbatore. He is also the member of External Audit for PSG College, for PSG Krishmal College for Women, and also Bishop Heber College, Tirchi. He is also the member of Research Board at VVV College for Women, Virudhunagar. He is also the convener of the Fine Arts Club of his college. As on date, he has conducted 25 workshops, published 75 research papers, both in international and national journals. He has presented more than 120 papers in national and international conferences. To add a feather to his cap, he is also the editorial board member for ANJC Journal of Sciences and also BBC College Journal. He has received, to his credit, 6 gene sequencing, which he has submitted to NCBI, Government of India. Once again, I'm very happy to welcome him among our midst.
Thank you, sir. Now the dice is yours, sir.
So, first of all, I thank the principal of Nehru Mahavidyalaya for giving me a chance to share some of my experiences and the knowledge I have gained through these years. And I really thank uh, the dean, the director, for introducing me nicely, and Dr. Pakiraj, who has been very instrumental in bringing me to this scenario, especially for faculty like me to have an on-site view of what is going on around us in each of our institutions. And when he approached me to this faculty development program as a resource person, he gave me this particular topic. He gave me two or three choices, and I believe that this particular topic may be some help to the fellow participants of this a great program. So once again, I wish the faculty of the sciences of Nehru Mahavidyalaya and other faculty who are helping this wonderful online webinar, and uh, I thank for the efforts to taken for this carrying out for this nice program and bringing in a lot of persons uh, around the nation. So once again, I thank you all, and without wasting much of time, let me go into the topic. Yes. So I thought I can share with you the teaching learning strategies, whatever I have been taught by my mentors, and whatever I have gone experienced with the students, or whatever I have, whoever I have come across. And I have the honor of teaching students in three different institutions. One is the American College, the other one is Ayanadar Janaki Ammal College, the third one is the Madurai Kamaraj University School of Biological Sciences. So that gave me, or that is giving me an opportunity to learn the minds of the students, and also how a teacher should behave and interact with the students, especially in their own subject. So I thought that this particular session will be of a little uh, help to you in understanding my own experiences, and not only that, uh, what is going on in and around us in this famous country. So, before plunging into the discussion, I wish my fellow teachers a prosperous and purposeful years ahead, and may God bless you with a lot of wisdom and knowledge to enrich your career as a teacher and guide you wherever you are. Right. Now, an educational institution performs a significant function of providing learning experiences to lead the student from the darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge. So, therefore, we are all carriers. We are shifting students from their ignorance to the knowledge light. So the key personnel in the institutions are the teachers. So we, the teachers, are doing the wonderful transformation work of the students. And NCTE, National Council for Technical Education, has stated out that a teacher is the most important element in any educational program, and therefore the teacher is mainly responsible for the implementation of educational process at any stage, whether it is a school or a college or a university. A teacher is more responsible, and this shows that it is imperative to invest in the preparation of teachers so that the future of the nation is secure. As our principal pointed out in his address, the nation's security lies on the heads of the teachers. Now, coming to UGC, what UGC says, or what is the teacher student ratio of guideline by the UGC? UGC says that one teacher is essential for every 10 students at the postgraduate level, and 1 is to 20 at the undergraduate levels, irrespective of the discipline. You know, NIRF, or the ranking pattern. So this ranking is being followed throughout India, and this particular body gives us the ranking of the institutions based on certain criteria. And lot of colleges are coming into the rankings, and some colleges are not ready to get into the ranking because of lack of infrastructure. And there are few colleges which are said to be the top 10 or top 20 in India. And what are the parameters they weigh, or on what basis the ranking is given? Out of 1 mark, 5 categories or 5 parameters are weighed. The first parameter is teaching, learning, and resources. I think that first parameter suits us because that is the topic of our discussion today. Maybe marks 100, and the weightage is zero point 0.3. Research and professional practice, again 30%. Graduation outcome is 20%. Outreach and inclusivity 10%. And perception. So the perception what people have on this particular institution, which is going for ranking, that is counted as 10%. So there are 5 categories or 5 parameters which are weighed for the National Institutional Framework ranking. So this particular first parameter, I think, out of the discussion what we are going to have today, maybe this particular parameter may be enriched by yourself as a teacher in your respective institution. Now coming to India, the 2015 report says there are 760 universities and roughly 38,000 colleges. But in October 2021, they say there are 4 types of universities and the total comes to 1,030. And there are universities in 28 states of India and 5 union territories of India. And coming to the teacher. So, the role of a teacher. Now, how can you say you are a good teacher? Or how can you say you are an inspiring teacher? So let's see what all the information we can gather from this. Now, who is a teacher? A person who teaches is a teacher. Professor, our professor is a teacher. Our colleague is a teacher. Our principal is a teacher. Our mom and dad is an educator. So teacher can be an educative purpose also. So he need not teach us, but he or she can educate. So our parents are educators. They educate us how to respect elders. So that is the basic teaching starts from our home. Now, who is a good teacher? To know about what makes a good teacher, one must know the task of a teacher. What is the task of a teacher? Is it just teaching alone is the task of a teacher? Or just taking classes regularly is a task of a teacher? Or holding assignments is a task of a teacher? Or just marking attendance is a task of a teacher? Let's say communication. Communication, I think it's a very good task of a teacher. Maybe the second core quality of a good teacher to communicate their knowledge and expertise. So there is a saying, give me a fish and I eat for a day, teach me to fish, I can eat for my lifetime. Now, create interest. The teacher should create interest. A good teacher builds knowledge of the subject with a clarity and understanding. So you should have a pakka clarity in the subject you are going to teach, and you should have a wide understanding of it. So for this, we have to update ourselves. So updating our knowledge, updating the subject, that can help you in the classroom. So best teachers make the class interesting and relevant to the students. And good teachers work hard to make their material relevant. So interest is the mother of attention. So basically, all teachers should have interest of them for them to attend each and every class, whether it is an UG or PG or a research class, whatever it is, you should go to the class with definite interest. Now, respect. You should have good teachers should have a deep-seated concern and respect for the students in the classroom. You should respect the students. You should not believe that the student doesn't know anything. Maybe you are on scale because you know you are on the platform and you are going to give the delivery. and you know very well about the subject, but you should not think the students are empty or zero. Students also have knowledge, and students should able to grasp and pick up what you are going to say word by word or sentence by sentence. So next is treat everyone with the equal respect. So there is no fast learners and slow learners and medium learners, things like that. People say that in a classroom you have slow learners, you have fast learners, but you treat everyone with equal respect and avoid partiality and favoritism, especially in classes having opposite genders. Now, how to have the management of the classroom? So you should have a control of the classroom. You should have the control of the class. So it's an effective discipline. You should come prepared for the class. Unless you come prepared, you can see the lacking of discipline that particular hour or in that particular on that particular day or class. Then you should be motivating. So your presence should be motivating for the students. So students should keep on enjoying, and you should provide a safe, comfortable learning environment, and you should build students' esteem, self-esteem. So it is not just believing your students, you should make your students to believe them also. And it should be creative and imaginative in daily lessons. So suppose you take a topic and proceed with the topic for say a couple of weeks or a 1 week. The students may get bored. So now you change the teaching methodology. You go for some creativity, or you go for some demonstration, you go for some exhibition, you make some article, you make some things to do workout in the laboratory or on the table, or you bring some newspapers. I remember when I was studying in my American college for my undergraduate program, I was doing botany, and uh, Tamil teacher was from Nagarkoi, and the neighboring class was zoology class, and where Dr. Solomon Papaya used to take a class, and that class will be very, very, very noisy, and as the bell strikes, the students used to go and bring Dr. Papaya from the department to the classroom. On the way, he'll be talking, discussing the Tamil, whatever the literature he has, he'll be discussing on the way itself to the class. And once he enters the class, the whole class becomes very, very, very emotional, attached to the teacher. So there I saw how a teacher influences the students, and still now Dr. Papaya, he was recently honored the Padma Shri award. And as an American college student, I am also proud to say that I have studied under Dr. Solomon Papaya. So this is to say that you make the class interesting. Don't just get make the students get bored. Don't feel that the teacher is boring us or the teacher is giving too much of lessons. When there's, if you feel the students are getting bored, you just stop the lesson. Just ask them to go for a feedback. So that will help you to have the classroom live. Now coming to being a good teacher, you should have just two qualities. One is professional quality, the other one is the personal quality. What is the professional quality? Mastery of the subject or the field one teaches. So you may be good at computer science, you may be good at Java, or some may be good at accountancy, or I may be good at physiology. Whatever it is, I should master my subject so that I can teach at a very, very free hand, and I can give a lot of information or updated information to the student. So effective learning demands that the teacher possesses solid knowledge of the subject. Nowadays the students are very, very clever. They can judge a teacher whether the teacher is knowing the subject or whether the teacher is having a full knowledge of the subject or not. They can sense you very easily. Maybe they may not express, but they may be having in their own minds, or they may talk outside the classrooms. So knowledge is power. So how much knowledge you have, that is the power or the strength of a teacher. Now understanding of the learner. So you should understand, I told you, understanding the basic principles of human growth and development of the learner. So you expect some responses from the students. When you say something or when you ask questions, you expect some answers from the students. Some answers may be spontaneous, some may be very slow. And that which means what? There are students of mixed nature, and sometimes a class ends without any answer or without any questions from the audience or from the students, which means you can say you may be, you are full-fledged teacher, you have fulfilled that particular day's program or teaching or lecture, but the other way is you have not made the students to understand what you have taught that particular day. So this is called understand the learner. Understanding of the teaching principle and skill in use of techniques for their implementation. So this is very, very essential for humanities as well as science teacher. So you go for skills. So you have to be a skilled teacher. So for this program like this is a faculty development program where you can acquire skills. So nobody is born with inherent skills. Maybe we are having some skills in us, inbuilt in us, but we have to acquire skills from the world, from our surroundings, from our teachers, from the expertise, so that you can implement those skills in the classroom. So this slide is just to say how a teacher uses the body language, the gestures. So that gestures will help the students to understand. Suppose you are making the students to visualize that there is a buffalo inside a class. Just by showing your hands, by your gesture, the students will really believe that there is a buffalo standing inside. So in that way, the skills are very much efficient or required. Now, general understanding of other branches of knowledge. It is not that you are mastery in your subject, but you should also know the other branches or other field of teaching where it is going to help the life's problem, maybe the life skills. So, suppose you are reading a newspaper today and you are coming across so many information, you can just pass the information to the students. So, there may be students, poor students, who are not able to afford to buy a single newspaper. So you can just pass the information, whatever you have come across, or whatever the news channel you have watched that particular day, you can just pass on. And even an Animal Planet channel or a Discovery channels, whatever you just have seen or noticed, that information you can pass on so that you can make that students get interested or you can kindle interest in the minds of the students. So general understanding of other branches of knowledge. Now understanding and appreciation of teaching profession. First of all, we the teachers, we should appreciate ourselves. The degree of teacher success depends to a great extent on his attitude towards his job. It's not just you have come here, you have been selected, that you are having a PhD. It is not that you are having just MPhil. It is not that you are having a first rank in the university. That is not alone enough. Here you are facing the young minds each and every semester, every year. So in no profession, the young minds are facing a teacher, or the young minds are brought to the notice of a person. So this profession alone, we are proud to say that we face each and every year the young minds, fresh minds, where you can inculcate, where you can teach so many principles of life to not only to lift him up, but to lift the nation also. It is about professional qualities coming to personal qualities. So, what are the personal qualities of an effective teacher? Passion. Passion is the teaching compelling force. So that is from emerges from one's inborn love for children. So these are all children. So you just treat them, even it is a postgraduate class, you treat them as your children. Even if it is an M.Phil class, you treat those students as your children. So how we teach our children? They do mistakes, they commit errors, but we correct them. Similarly, you go for these children and you develop a passion in teaching. No, most of us we have passion, but just this is to just add or enlighten. Then humor. Humor stands for anything funny which elicits a smile, laughter, or amusing reaction to the learners. I told you, when you enter the class today or that particular morning, the students will be just observing your body, your face. When you enter with an angry face, the students will come to know that you have come late, or your attendance is marked late, or something like that, or you have some domestic problems, or something like that. So, you should enter the class with a smile, a simple smile. And as soon as you enter the class, you just greet them, wish them, and expect the same from them also, and make the students to greet each and everyone among themselves. So that is the way of making the students life. Similarly, humor. When you add humor to your subject, it is not making fun of the students. It is not making a character assassination of the student. But humor comes from inside you, so that they will be able to listen to you with sharp ears and without sleeping. So this is very much essential, because taking a class after lunch and after breakfast, you know, it, you can make them to sleep. So you should not sing lullaby, but you should make them to be sit and attend to your lecture. So smile and laughter. Oh, values and attitudes. So teachers are models of values. So three things: open-mindedness, fairness, sincerity. Suppose I write an equation. Imagine I am a maths teacher and I am writing an equation on the board or on the screen or projecting something like that. If that equation is something carries a mistake like symbols or something like that, if a student points out, you should immediately accept, and maybe you can say tomorrow we'll see that. So that way you should. And if you keep on postponing your answers, maybe that will also result in a bad opinion about yourself. But you should be ready to accept whatever the complaints or the grievance or whatever the comments they make. So open-mindedness, fairness, sincerity. So suppose you are uh, assessing a student internal marks, internal test. So when you assess them, don't go by the name, just go by the data or the answer scripts. So that will help you. After just scoring or answering, valuing the questions, then you go for the name of the candidate. Then that will give you more sincerity, hope, and love towards the students. Patience. Of course, a very good teacher should be a very good having a patience, a lot of patience. So, in teaching, patience refers to teachers' uncomplaining nature, self-control, and persistence. Sometimes you feel that you should beat the particular student, or you should hit him, so because he has behaved in such a way, but you should be remain very silent, and you should be very very patient. So handling the situations, handling the emotional situations, handling a noisy situation in a class is again a teacher's skill. Now, how a classroom management is important. Satisfaction and enjoyment in teaching are dependent upon leading students to cooperate. So you make the class to cooperate. You know, if you suppose you are conducting a practical class, and if you are asking the students to uh, make or note down the observations of some experiment, only few students do that, and rest of the students just blindly follow those students. So in that case, that three or four students who are really active, they will be benefited, and the rest of the students may not be benefited. So when I engage my students, I used to tell them this way: one three theory classes is equivalent to one practical class. So whatever the information you are going to learn or obtain in three theory classes can be achieved just by attending one practical class. So that is the value of practicals versus or practical to theory, especially in science. So, classroom management issues are of highest concern for beginning teachers. So, those who started your teaching as a profession, so you have to go for a classroom management. You should be able to manage the students, and you should not consider the backbenchers are always dull-headed and front benchers are always super dupers or intelligence. So vice versa can take place, or you can make them to alter the seats also. Now, techniques for better classroom control. So, what can be done? You focus attention on the entire class. So, when you are delivering a lecture, don't just sharpen your vision to a particular group or to a particular student. Just your eyes should scan the entire classroom. So, there should be an eye to eye scan. Then, silence can be effective. Suppose you ask a question and remain silent for a few seconds, that can kill the student's uh, mind, because if they are not able to answer, or if you are asking a question not to a particular student, it's an open question, and each mind of the students will be tickling, and the heartbeat will be up in each of the students' body, because they'll be tempted to answer. Even though they are ready to answer, they may not be in a position to answer, because some are very poor in their oratory skills or in their way of expression. Some may be good. So this silence is very effective. And direct your instructions so that students know what is going to happen. So direct your instruction. So you have to just direct. So this is what we are going to do today. Or you can write a synopsis of the particular class or particular lecture. You are going to teach something, say, and you just write down 3 or 4 points, bulletin wise. These are the essence for today's discussion. Come on, we will go one by one, so that the students can easily note down what you are going to take that particular class. So synopsis wise instruction, and move around the room so that students have to pay attention more. Suppose you just stick on to at a particular place in a classroom. So many of the teachers I know, they just stick on near the board so that everybody can see. But standing near the board is good. But when you just walk around the room, then students will be vigilant. So they will know, come to know that this teacher is very strong teacher, and he is watching us sincerely from the bell to bell class. So just move on the room and just roam around the room, and not only in the theory class, the practical class. The practical classes is needs compulsorily the roaming of the teacher. So many of the teachers used to sit in the front bench and take down the and just mark the internal marks for the students in their register. But I think at the last 10 minutes, I think you can go and sit and then note down whatever you have. If there are two teachers handling a practical session. But during the practicals, as soon as you give the instructions, as soon as you do the demonstration, you just start going to the students bench by bench or table by table, so that they'll be ready to understand or grasp the practical classes. Over plan your lessons to ensure you fill the period with learning activities. So just you plan your lessons, then come to the class prepared. This we have seen already, and show confidence in your teaching. So you should make that particular day confident. So you just nurture the confidence in the minds of the students, and learn student name as quickly as possible. So this will be a bit difficult for a beginner, but as days go by, you can learn the student's name, and you can call the student by names instead of calling them by roll number. So please do not call them by roll number or registration number. Just call by the name. Maybe there may be one or two students or two or three students by the same name. Then how do you call them? Then you can just add initial, or you can add some petty name, also pet name, which is not harming them, and then call them. but not their physical appearance. So do not call them by their physical appearance, just call them by name. So this will help you to be, uh, proceed the class in a very safe mode. Now, coming to the National Council for Teacher Education, how they define a teacher education. It's a program of education, research, and training of persons to teach from pre-primary to higher education level. So that is what this program is about. So this program has involved so many experts, and the topics are also elaborate, right from education up to research. And this is the definition of the NCTE. And teacher education is a program that is related to the development of teacher proficiency and competence that would enable and empower the teacher to meet the requirements of the profession and face the challenges therein. So, now they have some regulations say that this is the basic qualification for a lecturer. So, this and that. But just ignore that thing. Now you have entered into the institution as a teacher, and you have enrolled yourself as a teacher. Now what you are going to gain, or what is the progress you are going to put in after entering the teacher in the institution from day one. Okay, semester wise you should show some improvement. All the formal and non-formal activities and experiences that help to qualify a person to assume responsibilities of a member of educational profession or to discharge his responsibilities more effectively. This is a good dictionary of teacher education. All the formal and non-formal activities and experiences. You may be taking them to a field trip. You may be taking them to a tour, a study tour, whatever it is. From there, or from that experience also, you can learn a lot of experience and knowledge, and that can be shared to the students from after returning back from the trips. So this will help to understand more and more, especially for science discipline. And a teacher education involves teaching skills, pedagogical theory, and professional skills. So, teacher education involves all the three, and we will see one by one. Teaching skills. This includes training and practice in the different techniques, approaches, and strategies that would help the teachers to plan and impart instruction, provide appropriate reinforcement, and conduct effective assessment. Now, as a teacher, our business is not only teaching but also evaluation or assessment. We have to assess. So, from the assessment, you will come to know about yourself whether you have taught correctly, completely, or not. So, that assessment will be again considered as a feedback of your teaching. So, teaching your own subjects in your own way and also needs to know how to assess your students. So, this includes classroom management skills, preparation, use of instructional materials, and communication skills. So, I remember my teacher used to bring plants from his home to the classroom. So he will say these plants are not available in this campus, but these are obtained from somewhere else, and I have brought it just to show you that these plants are having these beautiful features. So he will teach us that from those using those plants, the rest of the lessons, that particular lesson. So this is one way of coming to the class prepared or instructional material, or you can show them some charts. You can make them to prepare a scrap album. So I still remember one of my teachers. He used to prepare ask us to prepare a scrap album. So I was not knowing what is a scrap album. So he will give me a topic, say environmental pollution. So this will be a topic given to me or to my friends. So he will ask us whatever the information you come across, whether it is an image or is a picture or is a news or is just a clipboard, whatever it is, wherever you come, or a photo, you just bring it and you just paste it on a white sheet and you write on the date, so that after a month or so you come back to the classes. That is called a scrap album. So thereby we came to know what is environmental pollution. So how do we define environment? In Hindu, maybe the environmental pollution uh, aspect may be coming in appearing in today's Hindu's paper, or it may be appearing in a front line, or it may be appearing in a Tamil paper, news channel or newspaper. That can be given or collected and made into an album. So that album will be assessed as an internal assessment. So this is what a teacher does. That is not followed by other teachers. So that inspired me. So similarly, you teachers can teach your subjects in your own way. Then pedagogical theory, it includes philosophical, sociological, psychological considerations that would enable the teachers to have a sound basis for practicing the teaching skills in a classroom. So in this connection, I want to say about one of my experiences. I attended a college practicals as a external examiner, and that particular college, uh, at the end of the practicals, they'll be having a viva voce session. So just 5 minutes viva voce, and it will be assessed for 5 marks. So I was just going through that examination. I was supervising the students. Then I was calling each one by name, and I was asking questions. And the internal examiner was sitting with me, and he was also asking questions, and we were just evaluating. At one point of time, the internal teacher told me, "Sir, the next guy you're going to call will not he open his mouth, and if he opens his mouth, and maybe I can give you whatever you want or whatever reward you want." So that tickled me a lot, and I thought something is going to happen. Then I called him, and he sat in front of me, and I was asking that student, this teacher or your teachers are telling that you will not open your mouth, and you cannot be evaluated easily. In that case, Mr. X, see this, I'm giving you 5 out of 5 marks. Now you can open your mouth and you can say, what is your problem in the class? Then, to my surprise, I saw him telling that, "Sir, I'm not able to understand English, and whatever the PowerPoint presentation is on, I'm not able to follow. So that is my problem." So immediately, I I was able to read the face of the internal examiner. Then I just because he's a very poor scoring boy, and I just asked him to go back, and I was discussing with the teacher, and the HOD also came, and I told them this particular student is not able to understand English because he's from a remote village, and I don't know whether you have understand this problem or understood this problem, but this is the problem which this fellow is doing. But from his appearance, he looks very rough and tough. So they thought this fellow is not well behaved or things like that. Then they come and they were appreciating me. "Sir, you have made a person to open his mouth in in our lifetime. So thanks a lot." So this how you gain experience, because just by appearance you cannot judge a person. So and pedagogical theory, it includes philosophical, sociological, psychological considerations that could enable the teachers to have a sound basis for practicing the teaching skills in the classroom. Professional skills. Include the techniques, strategies, and approaches that will help the teachers to grow in the profession. So you can include numerous techniques, numerous approaches, soft skills, counseling skills, interpersonal skills, computer skills. Computer skills has become an order of the day. Information retrieving, management skills, how much databases are available in a particular subject or in a particular topic. That you can make the students to learn. Then you just obtain all the data. You just learn what is a soft skill, what is a counseling skill. So all this will enrich your professional skill. Coming to teaching aids. Hope you're all teaching with the help of a teaching aid. And let us see what are the types of teaching aids. These are all some of the uh, aids we have in our institutions. Some institution may not be able to provide. Some institutions are able to provide whatever we want, and that is our duty to just instruct or to give information to them, so that Upon our grievance, they may be able to give us whatever we want to make our lecture strong. We remember 20% of what we hear. We remember 30% of what we see. And we remember 50% of what we see and hear. We remember 90% of what we say and do. I hear, I forget. I see, I remember. I do, I understand. So, before doing a practical, or before demonstrating a practical, or before asking a student to carry out an experiment, first do it yourself. You may be very good, or you may be sound enough in that particular area or subject, but before that, you just carry out that particular experiment on that particular day. Before that, you just do it and make yourself comfortable. Then you can repeat it, or you can elaborate it or modify it. That's why I do, I understand. Now, coming to teaching aids, teaching is one-fourth preparation and three-fourths theater. Again, teaching aids like props add more meaning to the classes. So, what are teaching aids? They are tools used by the teacher to explain to the learners, and teacher make use of teaching aids in the classroom to make classes more interesting and effective. And teaching aids can be a video. Teaching aids can be a working model. It can be a presentation, and the importance of teaching. So why should you go for teaching aids? I know there are teachers who just stick on them, who just stick to the blackboard teaching, chalk on top method. But I don't underestimate them. But that is the old way of giving. But giving visuals to a particular subject, giving an animation for a particular concept, that will make the student to understand in a better way. So support lessons. So the teaching aids can support your lesson, that can assess your learning, explain the concepts and illustrate meanings, facilitate teachers' work by promoting conversation in groups. Suppose you just go for a video clipping, you just go for a video clipping for 5 seconds or 10 seconds. Just run the video for 10 to 5 to 10 seconds of some topic. Then you just put it off and ask the students what you have observed. And you divide the whole class into two, three, or four teams, small groups. Then you ask them what they have observed or what they have understood. So thereby you can make them to interact. So this sort of interaction can be taken place even in a theory class, or not even in a practical. In the theory class itself, we can make them to understand or interact with each other, and it saves time and effort. So that is another way. So you can, but it needs preparation. Then make use of five senses, arouse interest in the current topic. Now, why do you use teaching aids? Learning aids improve methodology. Students get stimulated, they become more attentive. And with aids, students participate better in class activities. So I remember when you go for this type of projections, they are they are very active. They are emotionally active, and they participate in a very better way. And the learners understand better when teachers use aid to teach. Suppose you are going to explain a definition, especially for physics teachers, for concepts, hypotheses, definitions. When you want to explain, you go for the PPTs. So the PPTs will help them to understand, for example, thermodynamic laws. So explaining each and every law just by orally saying that this is a law and this is an application. If you project the law or application of the particular law with a couple of slides, that will help the students to understand better the laws of thermodynamics. And not only that, teacher also improvise for the teaching aids when needed. And this becomes a property of you. And teachers claim that they use teaching aids to explain the various concepts that require explanations. So you can address various concepts. Now, characteristics of good teaching. It is suitable for the teaching objective, should correlate with the text material and classwork, simplify the learning process, be of appropriate size and attractive, provide language experience to improve communicative competence, motivate people to practice language individually in pairs or groups, clear and easy to use, available in classroom also. So it should be available Nowadays it is the projector is featured at a particular position, and it is projected towards a screen. So that way you need not all the time carry a projector, but you can carry a laser pointer or something like that, or even a mouse pointer, whatever it is. But that can help you to go into the class with, say, a bold attitude that I'm going to teach today. Suppose if there is no power, you are ready to go for a PowerPoint presentation, and if there is no power, so what are you going to do? Does it mean that you are going to just put off the class, or just shut off the class? No. You just tell them, I brought this. And because of lack of power, I am not able to demonstrate or present or mount. Maybe in the next class, I will be able to do that. And before that, if somebody of you interested, maybe I can just pass on this PPT through mail or WhatsApp, whatever it is, and make them in, so that students will be ready to share with you, from you, and experience them in that home itself. So this is the one characteristics of good teaching. Now, what are the five main criteria to choose effective teaching aids? Accessibility, visibility, practicality, interactivity, usability. So all the five categories, these are the five major categories to choose effective teaching aids. So when you want to hook over a teaching aid, these are the things: accessibility, visibility, practicality, and interactivity, usability. Now the students are benefited out of teaching aids. So how you believe that students are benefited? So the novelty. Students love new things. Students are very much interested in novel things. Suppose you go for you just give them a problem, a novel. If it is a novel type, then they will admire you in a very large way. So students love new things and innovation in the classroom. Teaching aids helps to bring the boring routines and add a healthy life to the classes. So the teaching aids cuts the boring routine. So that is the role of teaching aids, and the retains the information longer. Now, simple PPT will help you to retain the information. You can just bring back the slide repeatedly, one or two times, three or four times. You can make the concept to retain, because nowadays the retention is the problem of the youngsters. They can grasp the matter fast, but the retention of the information is very, very slow or low in the present generation. So how to make them retain the information? Either by enchanting mantras. So mantras, it helps to retain the information, or looking at a particular PowerPoint or slides repeatedly. And teaching aids will help the student have a better understanding. So the understanding will be better rather than the oral teaching. Better learning experience. So it helps to break down the monotony in the classroom, and it make classes more happening and interesting. Suppose you can just uh, insert problems and make the students to go for the solutions. So just project a slide with problems and ask the students to find out the solution. So in that way also this teaching aid will help you, and it increases conceptual thinking. With examples and the environment the teaching aids create, it is perfect for conceptual thinking. So they can expand their horizons. So students, their knowledge can expand. So the conceptual thinking can be expanded using the teaching aids. Now there is a thin line of difference between teaching aids and instructional material. Okay, there is a thin line of difference. It lies in the fact that instructional material are a part of the curriculum. So whatever the material you are going to give, maybe the synopsis of today's talk, that is an instructional material. But teaching aids, on the other hand, it is used as an extra material. It need not be a part of the curriculum. It may be extra material. For instance, if you are using a test tube or conical flask, it is an instruction material. Suppose I bring a lab equipment, suppose I bring a PC board, that is a teaching aid. I told you, a teacher bringing plants to a classroom, it's an it's a teaching aid. It's not an instruction material. Suppose if it is a taxonomy class, it's a class for identification of plants. Now plans are the instruction material, right? So there is a difference between teaching aids and instruction. Now, coming to the National Education Policy 2020, this is the first education policy of the 21st century, and it has replaced the 34-year-old policy which was framed in 1986. Now, that features or the national education policy has some features which has to be addressed today. Now, the fundamental principles of the policy are ethics and human constitutional values like empathy, respect for other, cleanliness, courtesy, democratic spirit of service, respect for public property, scientific temper, liberty, responsibility, pluralism, equality, justice, promoting multilingualism and the power of language in teaching and learning, life skills such as communication, cooperation, teamwork, and resilience. Focus on regular formative assessment for learning rather than the summative assessment that encourages today's coaching culture. You know, the summative assessment is there, which means at the end of the semester examination. But instead of that, you go for a weekly examination or weekly test, maybe a surprise test. That can be a very good teaching aspect. Extensive use of technology in teaching and learning, removing language barriers, increasing access for Divyang students and educational planning and management. Teachers and faculty, they are the heart of the learning process. Their recruitment, continuous and professional development, positive working environments, and service conditions. So, in the last feature, I should say that recruitment is being done by the institution or by the government, and you have, after entering, I told you, after entering into the career, you have to maintain a professional development, and you should have a positive environment to work in. Maybe your colleagues should help you, or your seniors or your mentors should help you. They should interact with you. They should have a better environment. Outstanding research as a core requisite for outstanding education. So, education not only relies on teaching alone, research also. Outstanding research has to be a part of the teacher. So, continuous review of progress based on sustained research and regular assessment by educational experts. So, you should be subjected to a self appraisal. So in my college, each one of us used to submit a self appraisal. So you come to know about yourself. So similarly, there should be a continuous review of the progress of the faculty in each college, and that has to be made. That reviewing must be done by educational experts, maybe from the same college or from the outside. Education is a public service. Access to quality education must be considered a basic right of every child. So, access to quality education. So, why certain schools are excellent? Why certain colleges are excelling? Why certain universities are in the top? Because it's not only that students have an access, so they want to have a quality education. So now it is considered as a basic right of each and every child. Substantial investment in a strong, vibrant public education system, as well as the encouragement and facilitation of true philanthropic, private, and community participation. So now community colleges started are going on in different colleges, and that community colleges brings in the common man to the college, even who are not up, who have not put up education. They are just coming to the college. They are participating in activity. In one way, the college is getting benefited. In the other way, the public is getting support from the college. So community colleges are coming in. So and really there are investors. There are people who like to support the student strength by giving them scholarships or fellowships, things like that. Optimal learning environments and support for students. Institutions and faculty will have the autonomy to innovate on matters of curriculum. Of course, many of the colleges are autonomous, and there are some colleges which are non-autonomous. And the institution and faculty, they have the autonomy to innovate on matters of curriculum and pedagogy and assessment within a broad framework of higher education qualifications. All assessment shall be decided by the higher educational institutions, including those lead to final certification. Suppose autonomous college, they cannot grant their own degree. They have to depend on the parent university for getting the degrees. So finally, it is on the university. So similarly, all assessment systems made or decided by the higher education institution. Now the choice-based credit system, so will be revised for instilling innovation and flexibility. So many colleges have adopted this, or it has become a mandatory option. So students are accepted, and there are some plus and minuses of CBCS, and some students say it is good, and some students say weak. And as far as teacher is concerned, some teachers say that uh, because of choice-based credit system, the main courses have got diluted, and the courses which are called as the extra courses, they have become the mainstream. So this way they argue. It is left to the college and the teacher's mind. And higher education institutions shall move to a criterion-based grading system that assesses students' achievement based on the learning goals for each program. Of course, NAC or NIRF, we have to collect data not only from teachers but also from students also. And higher education institutions shall also move away from high stakes examination towards more continuous and comprehensive evaluation. So, the typical examination pattern can also be revamped, and they can be remodeled to just go for a continuous assessment. So, continuous assessment will really help the students or help the teachers to understand their own students' performance. Institutional restructuring and consolidation. By 2040, all higher education institutions shall aim to become multidisciplinary institutions. Each will aim to have 3,000 or more students. So, there are colleges which are not having strength of 3,000, but lesser than that. But now, maybe in 2040, they insist that all these higher education institutions, they should become a multidisciplinary institute. And not only that, the strength of the students should be 3,000. And by 2030, at least one large multidisciplinary institution should be existing for each and every district. So one district should have one higher education institution. So the aim will be to increase the gross enrollment ratio in higher education, including vocational education, from 26.3 to 50%. So it was vocational stream 26.3 in 2018. Maybe they want to increase to 50% by adding another 24% to by the year 2035. And the growth will be in both public and private institutions, with a strong emphasis on developing large number of outstanding public institutions. So both public and private, and university will mean a multidisciplinary institution of higher learning that offers undergraduate and graduate programs with high quality teaching, research, and community. Now, a student who is ready to take a PG degree, he may choose an university rather than the college. So, what is the difference between a college and a university? University have many laboratories, many infrastructure where they can teach the particular subject in an effective way. But in a college, due to the lack of infrastructure, due to the lack of funding, due to the lack of funding from the UGC or the funding from their own source, they are not able to have infrastructure. That's why the student chooses a university for an PG discipline rather than a college. Now here, high quality of teaching, research, and community engagement is an order of the day for an university pattern. The definition of university will thus allow a spectrum of institutions that range from those that place equal emphasis on teaching and research. Suppose if you take Madurai Kamaraj University holds so many colleges that constitute so many colleges. There are some colleges run by the university itself, but in spite of it, few colleges are in the top list. They have a good ranking rather than few colleges which are in the bottom line. they don't come up, or they don't show good strength also. So this is where the university should come out to wipe away this particular distinction. So each and every college should have a minimum strength. You should have enough staff, faculty strength, non-teaching strength, so on and so forth. So those that place greater emphasis on teaching but still conduct significant research are called the teaching intensive universities. So not many universities in India are called teaching intensive universities. Only few universities like Madurai Kamaraj, like Jawaharlal Nehru, like Bharati Dasan, Bharatiyar, um, maybe IAIC, Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. All these are Delhi universities and Hyderabad Central universities. And these are called teaching intensive universities because they go for a large way of research. An autonomous degree granting college will refer to a large multidisciplinary that grants undergraduate degrees primarily focused on UG teaching, and a stage-wise mechanism for granting graded autonomy to college through a transparent system of graded accreditation has to be established. And I remember I was an external audit member, committee member to a college in Trichy. I don't want to name the college, but in Trichy. Okay, there, along with me, nearly 10 staff from various institutions throughout Tamil Nadu. They came, and we were given a hospitality, and we were taken to the principal's room. And the principal, when he asked us to get seated, and he said, "Good morning, I'm a teacher like you, and I request each and every one of you to go for a effective assessment." Uh, then we were taken to our own, I mean, the respective departments, and there the HOD of a particular department and an assistant of, I mean, the next teacher, next to HOD, the senior most teacher or the junior most teacher will be there, and they will be giving us the data, because the data which they are going to submit for NAC. The entire data has to be checked by us, and whatever the information we need, we will just ask the that particular teacher, and the teacher will give us or show us. Now the duty of the HOD is to go for a 5 minutes PPT only. So this was just amazing. It was not a 1 hour PPT, just 5 minutes. Within that 5 minutes, he has to impress us with a lot of pluses, whatever they have, the particular department has. And we have to select best department also. So actually, I was given to select botany, zoology, biotechnology, microbiology, and physics, chemistry also. Physics, not physics, chemistry. And uh, after 5 minutes, only 5 minutes were given for PPT, and we have to be very transparent in giving our opinions. And there were some lacuna, but we gave our own opinion, and all these opinions were collected. And again, it went to the principal's room, and he thanked us. And after a couple of weeks, I saw that particular college occupying a third position in the overall ranking. So why I'm telling this is an experience which was lacking even in my own institution. Then I was asking the convener of that particular college, that external academic audit leader. I asked him, how do you collect this data? Because collecting data for NAC is a cumbersome process, especially for the principal. So how do you collect? Then he said, "Sir, for a teacher, even for sanctioning a casual leave, or for sanctioning a OD, on duty permission, or any other thing that that is processed via a particular department, and that department goes and gives to the principal. Again, the principal goes to, I mean, signs the papers, and it is passed on to that particular department, and that particular department releases to the respective teacher. So that way, they collect the data in a very systematic way. They don't go after teachers and beg for data. So they collect. So in that systematic way, that particular department was computer science department. So all the information of the teachers are passed to the principal via this particular people who are working there in that department, and thereby they are able to have a data base of all the staff and all the students also. So these higher education institutions will support other higher education in the development. Suppose you have one education institution in your place. Maybe your college may be a higher education institution, and that can collaborate with yet another institution nearby or in the district, so that you can have an interaction of the staff as well as the knowledge. You can bring in people. So you should not feel them as a competitor. It's a positive competition. So that is what this national education policy emphasizes. Now, institutions will have the option to run open distance learning and online programs provided they are accredited to do so. So this requires permission from the higher authorities to run a distance learning program and also online programs. Now the government has insisted to go for online, especially in schools. Now colleges are reopened and they are meeting students every day. So the single stream higher education institutions will be phased out over time and will move towards becoming multidisciplinary institutions. So this will be the future of our country. So you are going to have not a single stream higher education institution. You are going to have a multidisciplinary institution with a lot of vocational students. The system of affiliated colleges will be gradually phased out over a period of 15 years, and they'll be given a greater autonomy. They'll be shifted to autonomous status. So the overall higher education sector will aim to be an integrated higher education system, including professional and vocational education. So the present complex nomenclature of higher education institution in the country, such as deemed to be university, affiliating technical university, unitary university, shall be replaced simply by university on fulfilling the criteria as per norms. So there are criteria to run an university as a university itself. And you know what happened to some institution which have been tagged by the name affiliated universities, or you can call it as semi universities. So those universities are affiliated universities, and now they want to come back to university. So maybe they may be self-financed, fully self-financed, without any government funding, maybe private universities, but they have to be a multidisciplinary in nature. So that is what. Now coming to, and for the past 1 or 2 years, we have been spending time for online classes. Okay, so we just we are ready with the online schedule, and students are also ready. But whether the students are really fed the knowledge what you want to share, so in that way we have to have a feedback for these online classes, and there are 6 ways to have a feedback. And there were some educational presentation only after the advent of online classes. So many presentation templates have come out online. Now, what are the that basic thing which we are measuring? 6 methods of feedback. The first, introduce pre-course questionnaire. Pre-course questionnaire means what? You can have a survey. You can have ask questions like, what are the expectations from the course? What prior learning experience do they have in the field? Where do they plan to implement the knowledge? What fascinates them the most about the course content? So the learner's expectation, you can make them, you can give the syllabus, you can send the syllabus, you just post the syllabus and ask them to read by, because previously we used to dictate syllabus. The students will write the syllabus in their own way, committing so many mistakes. I saw one student writing uh, window, skipping N, and writing widow. So in that way, they commit so many mistakes and they don't know what is the content of the syllabus. because course objectives will be there for each and every syllabus, reference will be there, textbook will be there, all these things you can just post them and ask them to go through it, and you can ask them whether they have understood and what is the expectation of that. Is it going to be useful? Because if it is a CBCS pattern, they can choose that particular paper, whether to have go whether to go through that particular paper on that particular semester or not. So you can just expose them the syllabus uh, in advance. So it can be a pre-course survey. So this is called a pre-course questionnaire. Then second one is the middle of the course feedback. So if the course is going on, so there should be a continuous evaluation. No. So what happened? Now you can ask what was the most challenging topic you learned. So which topic was challenging for you, and what was the most helpful learning for by far, and which lesson was most fascinating, which topic you want to study in depth, because the syllabus is framed by experts like you and experts from outside, and maybe it may be missing some of the basic things, or it may be missing some of the advanced things also. Now the student can throw light on those things. Sir, this particular thing is lacking, sir, or this thing is elaborate, sir. Only one experiment is repeated so many times, sir. So I be this way, that way. So both theory as well as practical syllabi can be, or the classes can be uh, thoroughly dissected by the students. So that this particular feedback survey will be taking place during the course or middle of the course, and one on live session. So if the number of students that make it viable, the instructor should mention a schedule where they can meet. You can ask them to meet, and it need not be as per your timing. You can just interact with them, and you can help them to ask questions and get clarification. Now the course is over. Now the end of the course. Now this is the actual feedback, and this feedback will be addressed by you by asking, do you find the concepts helpful? Can you practically apply the concept? Because a concept is explained by you. Now the learner has to apply that concept in practically. So you can ask him, how are you going to apply this concept? What you have learned practically? Which learning module has helped you to help you the best, and how? And what could have been done by the instructor to make the classes better? Suppose you imagine that you have done your duty well, but the student is feeling that you have not explained that particular thing, or you have not explained a particular step. For mathematics, for example, there are 10 steps. Maybe as an expert we just skip one or two steps and go to the final step, but the student will be just clicking themselves to the second and third step. So unless you clarify the second and third step, the 10th step or the final step cannot be understood by the learner. Now you ask them, what could can be done by the instructor? So what can I do? You just tell me. So this is the end of the course feedback. Post course individual feedback. What is this post course? Besides the feedback form, you can also sit with your students to understand their learning experiences. You can do it in person or a phone call or a video call. So it is best to pick diverse people for these exercises. So of course this is not possible for online, because online classes, once it is over, then we are coming to the regular stream, then you can sit with them. But during the online class it may not be possible. The end of the course email. So another excellent way to get a feedback is ask them to mail you. You can personalize these mails to increase the chances of them being open. Send these emails after a month of course to understand if your students can implement the knowledge. It is crucial to comprehend whether the knowledge provided in the program is helpful for the students. So you just mail them whatever you have. You just share them. The answers related to the applicability will add a great deal to the instructor's methods and modules. So you have designed a module and you have taught that particular thing. Now you are having a feedback. You have a feedback form also. Suppose if you ask a student to fill up a form, he'll be finding difficult. But if you just ask him to answer some of the questions you ask, then it will be easy to fill his feedback form. Instead of asking, you ask him to send a mail. That's all. So end of course emails will be the excellent way of feedback of your own online classes. COVID problems, because this has to be addressed because almost 2 years have gone. This COVID has disrupted not only in many area of our society, but the teaching sectors, the education sector has been thoroughly disrupted by this COVID. So it has interrupted what was going to be the implementation of national education policy. So Eldo Matthews, a senior researcher in Indian higher education, he told Times Education that the future attractiveness of Indian cities as education hubs, both for students from India and abroad, would be affected. See, this is the major comment. This is an important comment. India is becoming a hub for learners. Many of the foreigners used to come and enroll themselves as a student here in universities and colleges. Maybe in future this may be affected because of COVID. And India's most recent shutdown comes after a 10-month lockdown in 2020, which caused major disruption to teaching and research. And universities reopened in January with great hope as a nationwide vaccination drive was launched, but that openness lasted only a few months. So we thought that after vaccination everything will be normal. Again, this is coming back, and our colleges has become a vaccination center only instead of a teaching center. And we thought we are gaining the last momentum or the lost momentum in our academic work and in our plans to expand and grow in teaching and research. But we are back on our knees. So we thought that we are gaining the momentum which we have lost, but still we are on our knees, said L.S. Sashidhara, Dean of Research at Ashoka University. So I'm coming to the last thing. What are the constraints for a teacher? You have a constraint, I have a constraint, everybody has a constraint. What I have listed here in this slide is only very few constraints. There are many to be mentioned, but due to lack of time, maybe we are not able to discuss here. But I can just highlight some of the constraints. First constraint is the research work or project. Do you think it's a constraint? Yes, I consider as a constraint. If it is a research center, research work is essential. The teacher has to do research, he has to guide students, submit proposals for funding, guide ample students, and submit projects under his guidance, and evaluate the project. All this comes under research. Suppose if the college or the institution is not a research center, then this particular thing is not there. Now we compare these two. The first center has a research center. The second one is not a research center. Now compare the work of the teachers working in these respective institutions. So what is the constraint? Where is the constraint? That is the research work. Even though it's a part of the work of a teacher, administrative work. Many of the teachers are given administrative work, and this e-attendance is coming. And now you have to mark attendance through electronic media, and you need not go to the class. Or one teacher will be devoted to mark the attendance. Some teachers will be given extra work. Maybe they may not be interested, but still they may be given some extra work. Some teachers are given to, ordered or advised to look after the garden. It's not that they should not look after the garden, but their teaching competence or their teaching time may be affected, or their preparation time may be affected. So too much of administrative work, that can also land in a problem, especially for a teacher. And the next is the leader aspiration. This is an individual focus. So many teachers, they want to become leaders, or they want to have a higher jobs or higher post in that particular institute or institution. They want to have they want to become a dean, they want to become a director, they want to become a in charge, or so on. They want to become a director of so many courses, uh, this and that. So the aspiration is there, but you mean to say the aspiration is not good? Aspiration is good, but it affects what? It affects your teaching, your students. Your students are affected. You may be getting, I mean, a good response from the correspondence from your management system or from the community, but the students ultimately who are looking at you, who are after you, who are behind you, they are going to be affected because of your too much involvement in other works. Okay, so that is thing. But I won't say that you should not become a director, because becoming director itself needs talents. Okay, forgetting our domain of teaching and research. So this is especially to a teacher who has done research work or something like that in a university and continuing a job in a college. What he does is he was concentrating in a particular area in a university, working in a university. Now, after coming to a college, he may be asked to take a subject, not of his own domain, but maybe some other domain. So, what happens? Slowly, the teacher forgets his own domain because he is an expert in that particular domain, and he forgets his domain both in teaching and teaching. Then, non-cooperation from colleagues and non-teaching staff. This is there. This is there in every cupboard. Every cupboard has a skeleton. Okay, so every college has this problem: non-cooperation. Not only from non-teaching to teaching, or teaching to non-teaching, among the colleagues itself. So in both the classes, the colleagues' cooperation is much essential. I know, most of the colleges, for a paper, two teachers are given a job of taking that, handling that paper. If the paper is for 5 hours, 3 hours a teacher will take, and 2 hours the other teacher will handle the class. And when it comes to practical 6 hours, both the teacher has to sit and evaluate or complete the project. Now, that the co-teacher, if he is not, if he or she is not cooperative enough, then your performance will be affected. Suppose the co-teacher goes for a long leave, applies frequent OD, frequent OD leave on private affairs or whatever it is. If he applies, engages himself in more of leave for attending his own financial gains, then the person affected is you, and last but not the least, the students are affected. Your practical input, your practical efficiency, your practical talents will not be um, downstream to your teachers, sorry, students. So the students will be getting affected. So that way, the non-cooperation finally affect your students also. Now, engaging in part-time jobs, financial strain, because I know all teachers are not wealthy enough, so they concentrate themselves for part-time jobs. Sometimes they go for other jobs in the part-time or in the odd hours, and that makes them to become fatigue also. So that ends up in a lot of mental problems, strain. So that can also become a constraint for a teacher. Demotivation from the institution. Sometimes a teacher is punished or given a notice or given a note from a higher official, just for sitting in the class, uh, or not evaluating correctly, or not attending students correctly, or not addressing the students problem. So such notes are frequent cautions from the higher head of the institutions may demotivate the teachers. So for beginners, this is a big problem. So demotivation. So you should not become demotivated. Lack of self-appraisal. What is the self-appraisal? Whatever classes you handle, how many classes you have handled, what are the portions you have covered, because in some colleges they have portion covered register. So even my college, we have portion covered register, and we will be allotting a register for and the register for all this stuff, subject wise, paper wise, and each register, that register has to be filled up by the teachers at the end of the semester. The teacher has to sign that whatever the portions allotted for them, or they have selected for them, has been covered or not, and how many tests have been carried. All these small points will be mentioned in the register, and that register will be signed by the HOD, head of the department, and will be passed to the principal. And principal goes through that register, and he'll submit back to the department, and the HOD will take care of the uh, portion covered register. So this is there, and self appraisal not only includes your teaching, but your practical hours, theory hours, and your guiding hours, guidance in the form of MPhil or PhDs, how much people you are guiding, part time or full time stream. So all those things, and how many seminars you have attended, how many papers you have presented in conferences, whether national or international, whether how many of your students have attended, all those things. These things has to be put in a form called self appraisal, and maybe lack of self appraisal is a concern. So self appraisal has to be there, and last but not least, lack of interest in teaching and research. Suppose a teacher is handling a subject, particular subject, say for 2 decades, and he or she will not be in a position to update herself or himself, because he'll be strong enough to say that I know this, I can teach at any hour, at any length. So this will be the statement. So slowly, what is lacking is the interest in teaching is slowly lacking inside the person, or research inside the person. So this may be due to some aging also. Health issues start developing because teacher is more prone to health problems, right? Like BP, cholesterol, sugar, and all those things. So as aging progresses, health issues start coming in, and that also affect our teaching capability. So multitasking. So a teacher is not only entrusted with the teaching responsibility, he is being given some other responsibilities in the campus. So this is what happens. So I thank the management, the principal, the organizers, especially Dr. Bakiraj, the convener, who is ready enough to conduct this great program. Because conducting a program for students uh, is easy, but conducting a program for faculty is a bit hard. That too for say a full week. So 8 days, bringing in experts and topics of interest is a great achievement. So I congratulate Dr. Bakiraj and his team, because there is a team behind him operating this, and especially my sincere wishes to uh, Principal Dr. Subramaniam sir, and I wish the program should have end in a great success, and whoever the faculty attends this program should carry at least some information to the respective institution, so that the students or the children are getting benefited in a large way. Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for sharing the intuit in understanding of teaching learning planning, sir. As we have, as we don't have much time, I would like to share the few questions of Dr. Arun Kumar. That is, how does critical thinking is related with the professional skills?
I didn't get you.
How does how does
Yes.
critical thinking is related with professional skills, sir?
Ah, critical thinking.
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes. See, critical thinking is not coming out from outside. It is just inborn. It is in you. So what you have to do? You are a professionally competent teacher. Now you are going to handle a group of students. Now that particular group of students, you do not know how what form they are, but you are going to address them, and when you are going to address them, you should prepare mentally. So you should instead of directly going to a PPT, why don't you ask some questions? Each by one, you can ask some questions on that particular related topic of uh, lecture, and asking some questions. Then you can say, I can explain each and every one of you by giving solutions in a form of PPT. Then you go for a PPT. Maybe they will be able to. This is one way of. This is not the actual correct way of thinking, but this is my own purview of critical.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
No duty is more urgent than that of returning thanks. So I request Mr. T. Purushottaman, Head in charge of the Department of Biotechnology, to propose a vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, all. Feeling gratitude and not expressing it is like wrapping a present and not giving it. William Author. It is my privilege to propose a vote of thanks and acknowledge the contribution of those who worked hard to make this session successful. On behalf of R&D Faculty Development Cell, I thank our today's chief guest, Dr. K. Lingakumar, Head Associate Professor and Botany, Ayyanadar Janaki Ammal College, for enlightening us with his talk on an insight into teaching learning strategies. The session was very informative and was useful. Thank you, sir. I thank our management for permitting us to conduct this program. And I thank our principal, Dr. B. Subramani, for his constant support in all the programs. Thank you, sir. I thank the convener, Dr. Bakiraj, and team of organizers, aides, teaching and non-teaching staffs for their cooperation. Thank you all. At last but not least, I thank all the participants from various colleges and from our college for your presence. Thank you. Once again, I thank you all.
Thank you, sir. There is an announcement for the participants. I request the participants to join for the second day faculty development program of tomorrow's on the topic Research Designing by Dr. R. Kannan, Associate Professor and Head PG and Research Department of Botany, NGM College, Pollachi. And participants are requested to fill the feedback form link. Thank you all.